It's fine. I normally do it.
You do a great job.
Hey guys, happy Friday!
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Finance Friday. This is the show where we give you the information that you need to help you create, grow, and protect your wealth. I am Amy Novakovich, and this is
Stephen Harrington.
we are both certified financial planners and
other designations
that,
as well.
You can look up as well. But today we want you to share this out because there's a lot of you out there that are having questions, especially with interest rates move about annuities. And I guess we could go as basic as what is an annuity, because a lot of people get them at work. Some people are like, you know what, I'm going to share this out. Some people are like, I have an annuity at work. That's not necessarily the ones we're talking about. Well, they are, because they have the option for income.
We should go over a bunch of the different types of annuities, because
let's start pretty basic.
Yeah, because when I hear people say annuities, it can be the universe is huge on annuities.
I'm going to share this out as you're talking.
Sure. And correct me where you want, but the universe of annuities is very broad. So
very much so.
You can have something as simple as a fixed annuity, which is almost like a CD
and we
in
got
some
that
regards.
Comment in a workshop the other day because somebody was very confused as to my annuity could have fees.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were thinking it was more like a CD, which it can be, but you have to have a very specific type of an annuity. And then the rate can auto-renew. That's the difference, is that you can bust a CD for like a 3-month interest penalty. In an annuity, you've got sometimes 5, 7, 10-year, 20-year surrender fees each and every year that you own these annuities. So
and they don't tell you that when you sign on the dotted line.
Well, if they've got a good advisor, they tell them.
If they have a fiduciary.
If they have a fiduciary.
Which most people who bring up annuities and sell annuities, a lot of them aren't fiduciaries.
That's very true. That's very true. And a lot of them, sometimes, and they might be advisors, but they're product advisors. So they'll guide you to the right product that might fit your needs. But then there's fiduciary advisors that have to really look at your entire picture. So what we try to do is recommend an annuity for like a sleeve of your assets, and here's why. An annuity is an agreement with an insurance company that you give them money, and in exchange for giving them money, they give you a benefit. In a fixed annuity, it's an interest rate. In an indexed annuity and a variable annuity and an immediate annuity, typically, and we're not going to get into every single kind, we could spend hours on it.
Days.
But typically, it's an income payment. And the way that you are credited with interest in the cash value, like you have this cash bucket that's building up cash, right? But then you also have this income benefit, kind of like if you were to get a pension statement or a Social Security statement. You paid in all this money to Social Security. Wouldn't it be nice to get a statement saying, this is how much you've paid in, this is how much it's grown? But you don't get that. You only get the income side of it, right? You get a statement saying, here's your income benefit at this age, this age, and this age. And that's a lot like an annuity. You have an income side and a cash side. So that's where the confusion lies. How many times do we have people come in that are like, no, I have this thing. I keep putting my hands on my mic. Probably driving everybody crazy. I have this product that guarantees that I make 7% every single year. We hear this so much. And really what that is guaranteed growth of your income, not your cash. So if you were to cash in the annuity and take the money out, you would not have a guaranteed 7% interest. That's just not true.
A lot of confusion around that.
There's a ton of confusion. So again, let's break it down, especially for people that just joined. An annuity contract is a relationship, a contract with an insurance company that you give money into, and in exchange, they give you a benefit. Most of the time, and again, we're not covering every detail, it's an income benefit. Sometimes they offer death benefits. Sometimes they offer long-term care benefits, get really fancy. Indexed, and people don't know necessarily what an index means. It means they're linking your interest rate to a certain index. An index might be the S&P 500, just the market. 500 companies, the biggest companies in the U.S. A lot of times they make up their own index, which is a whole nother issue.
Which only benefits the insurance company.
Yes,
in most
that's
situations.
how they really get you. They'll put all these shiny bells and whistles and say, hey, look at how great we've performed. And it's an index that they really created. So at any time, if they're losing money on these contracts,
let's
they
change
just
this
change the
index up a
index. Yeah. So what you need to do, you need to review it with someone that's not biased. So like, for instance, we don't have a bias on which company we use. Like,
I was just going to say real quick,
Yeah, go
remember, we met with a prospect a few months ago, and we're just like, run over your assets with us. What do you have? Like, well, I have this annuity, but it's annuitized. You can't do anything with it.
That's right. Yeah,
You
she
can't
said that.
There's no point in even talking about it. It's like, well, let's actually look at it. What you own this
We
annuity?
called the company.
Yeah, and turns out it's not annuitized.
You got to explain what annuitized means because I haven't come to that yet.
So, a good way to explain it, you can have what's called a variable annuity, and so there can be this kind of accumulation phase of the benefit, and then at some point you can annuitize that, where you basically for the rest of your life you get a guaranteed income.
Very simply put, you give all the money over to the insurance company
and
for
say,
an
I
income
want
payment.
this for life now, and then you can pass away the next year. And
the
because it's annuitized,
Yeah.
you're done.
Depending
Your
on
beneficiaries get nothing.
depending on what type of income benefit you chose. So it's very, very, very important that if you have a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a sister, yourself that has an annuity, it is very important that you get with somebody who really understands annuities. We would recommend us. Right? We're independent, but we can call and see where you're going to make money, where the break even is, where you're going to lose money, and what alternatives might be if you're in the best possible solution, because there's so many moving pieces. The way an annuity really works, the inner workings of it. And we are not against annuities, by the way. What we are against is when you or somebody goes and sits down at a dinner seminar thinking they're going just to get educated, and they get sold an annuity as if it fits for every single person sitting in the audience without them knowing anybody's situation. It is not the type of product that is for everybody. It isn't. But when it is for you, this is how it works. And it can be I call it like a sleep at night product, because the reason is you have to forego some upside. You have to pay some fees in order to receive the following. You are going to get your own money back for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Truth?
Yeah.
You're going to put your money in a contract, and they're going to say, hey, in exchange for you giving us money, we're going to pay you an income payment. Well, I just handed you money. So let's say you put in, I don't care, $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million. Or 100,000. It really doesn't matter. $1 million, I was going to go off of like 50,000 a year, because that's 5%.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I'm going to pay you 50 grand a year. And you're thinking, wow, for the rest of my life, that's whoa. Whoa.
She gets very animated.
Yes. Yikes. Okay. Stop. For the rest of your life, we're going to give you $50,000 a year. And you're thinking two things. You're saying, number one, wow, for the rest of my life, I can't outlive my money. That's great. But think about that. You gave them $1 million. So how many 50,000s is it going to take to accumulate your $1 million back?
Minimum
right?
20.
Right? So even if the money is growing, you're not necessarily just taking the interest and the dividends and the growth. You're taking some of your principal back too, most times.
Mm-hmm.
There are variable annuities, and again, we're not getting into all the specifics, but there are variable annuities that where you put the money in, it grows for years and years and years and years and years, and then you are just pulling from the growth if you do it right. Again, you need to sit down. This is why you need to review. You need to see what position you're in. Am I making money? Did I make money? Am I pulling income that I've already made? Am I pulling some of my principal? How long is it going to take me to get my money back? Does it make sense to stay here? I have so many questions, right? So because you need to know if you're making money on this, if you're paying fees,
And they can be high fees in a lot of these annuities.
Variable annuities can get up to like 4%.
Yeah, 3.5%, 4%. I've seen
That
for internal fees.
The Lincoln I for Life was like one of the most popular annuities, the variable annuities that I saw. That was like 4.1% per year. So now you've got to not only make up the fee, you've got to make up income that you're pulling out.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to see if this is really what's appropriate for you. And I call it a sleep factor because it is nice when the market is getting hammered and your money in the stock market, if it's not managed super great, or if it's not communicated with you what's going on or what the plan is, people tend to panic. On an annuity, you're just like getting your check. Like I had a client tell me once, actually a really good friend of mine, tell me once, if I was on an island and all I did was have a mailbox and all I did was get that check, I wouldn't know what the market was doing. I wouldn't care as long as I get that check. And my argument always was, yes, but on an island, I don't think there's a lot of inflation. So
Price
if
of
your income
coconuts have gone
payment
up.
never goes up, or you don't have the odds of your income payment going up, right, over sometimes you're taking these annuity payments over 10, 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
You're going to need that income to increase at some point, right? We can't live on the income that our parents were given, like 20, 30 years ago. Like times have changed. We now need more money. So what you need to do is make sure that this break-even point is going to make you money, or at least going to give you the sleep factor, or maybe it's just a portion of your overall financial well-being, and that's the piece that covers your
Guaranteed
guaranteed
expenses in
Thank
retirement.
you. Fixed expenses. And then the rest of the money can actually have a different strategy because you have your expenses covered. So we use them. We're live. So we use them, as a tool in like financial planning.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're like running a bunch of financial plans, isn't it nice to have like a guaranteed income portion?
Let's say, for example, in retirement, I'm going to spend $5,000 a month in expenses.
$60,000 a year, yes.
Social Security, which is like an annuity, is going to cover $3,000 of that every month. Well, we might want to annuitize and ensure we supplement that
Cover
extra $2,000.
Yeah.
And then if we have additional assets beyond that, that's when we keep that out of an annuity in the market and grow with less fees compared to the annuity. But we know we've got our expenses covered and for sure guaranteed. And there's so many nuances with these things. Like, for example, I'm going to get a little nuance here, so I apologize because I just ran into this with my grandma. Actually, she had an annuity with an income benefit in her IRA. And so I called the annuity company. I said, is this annuity IRA friendly, RMD friendly? No.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So eventually, as she gets older...
And some people are, you're right, some people are sitting out there going,
what does that even mean?
What's an RMD? What's RMD friendly? What does that mean?
Yeah. So when you have this income benefit on this annuity, there's only a certain amount you can take out every year. But if your RMD goes above that, and you're required to take it out,
required distributions of
then it's going to negatively impact your benefit once you get in later life. And so there's no point in having that annuity. So there's just so many nuances where, we go over this every day.
Get to taxes.
Oh, that's the worst part.
Taxation. So again, if you have, there's different levels of financial advisors, and I think I've done this video on YouTube too. There's advisors that are only insurance licensed that do life insurance and annuities, and they might do financial planning as well. And then you have financial advisors that work for like a brokerage, or maybe they work on commission and they place trades. They have to get your authority to place a trade, right? And then might have some bias as to like certain companies they should sell. And then there's like the independent world, which is what we're in. And you have advisors in the independent world that only do investments, but they call themselves a financial advisor, but they're really an investment advisor, right? And then you have people in the independent space that look at everything, like all encompassing. And I would say probably 25% of what we do is taxation. So it's not just about the investments, it's about tax. So for you and your family, inheriting an annuity can be a tax nightmare because like everything else, like real estate and stock, when someone dies, even if they bought it for a penny, if when they die it's worth $100,000, you get it at $100,000. So you don't owe all these gains taxes over a penny.
Not in an annuity.
In an annuity, you owe it all on income tax. So we have to do some tax planning. Again, especially if you are one of those that your parents might have an annuity. And you know what? I'm going to bring up something right now that's a little bit of a sidestep. Some people will say, my parents don't want to talk about what they have.
I hear that a whole lot.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what my parents have. They don't want to tell me. They're pretty secretive. I would take this as an opportunity to say, hey, mom and dad, I'm working with a tax planner. I'm working with a financial advisor. I'm working with someone who's trying to get my financial life in order. And I just want to make sure that I'm not going to inherit a tax nightmare. I need to plan for that.
A tax bomb.
Right. Even if you don't want to talk to me, son or daughter, even if you don't want to talk to me, can you talk with them as professionals? It's confidential. They don't have to tell me anything. But can you at least talk with them so that they know what I'm going to have in the future? Like I would say that that's a really reasonable ask. Like if you want to keep everything private, fine, from your kids. I understand. but can you at least talk with my advisors, my new advisors, and so they understand my tax situation, and that they can help kind of rearrange things in a way that can prepare me for what I'm going to either get or not get or have to deal with. It's a big deal. If you inherit a trust that wasn't fully funded, if you inherit an annuity that had a huge tax gain, these are all things that can take years, guys. So if you are one of those parents watching this and you don't talk to your kids about it, ooh, you know, like, I would just figure out a plan.
Let's make an exception.
Let's like just talk about it, you know, and make sure that somebody's looking at the overall financial picture, because annuities can be a huge, I mean, I had clients that I worked, they were prime candidates to have a portion of annuity. What they were saying things to me is, I want the growth of the market, but man, I can't sleep at night when it goes down, this type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just secure, before you retire, a portion of your income that covers your expenses in an annuity, and the rest you can get the upside in the market, but you don't have to worry about the downside as much because you know it's taken care of. So they were like prime candidates, and they had a net worth, so we only put like 10% in the annuity, right? You don't put everything, obviously. And they wouldn't do it for years. I mean, it took me years, because her mom left her with all these annuities. She was like, they were a nightmare. I hate annuities.
So she was hesitant.
Very much so.
Oh.
So I would say, again, just get it reviewed, because you've got, in summary, fees. You need an income plan that's going to tell you, am I making money? Am I going to make money on this? When am I going to make money? When's my break even?
How am I taxed?
How am I taxed? Taxes. These things all need to be answered. And I would say annuities are a beast to try to understand on your own. You can call the insurance company as a first step. Like, if you don't want to work with somebody, go ahead and try to ask them what the fees are, try to ask them what the benefits are, it's hard because you don't even know the questions to ask. Like when we sat in that prospect's home, and we asked like 13 questions, and she's like, oh my gosh.
Even
I
the
thought I
employee was like,
understood it.
let me research this a bit just to understand it. Even they need to research
Yeah, let me look into it. Yeah, for sure. Well, because they always change their contracts over the years. So the insurance company has to go back to that specific year. Anyway, now we're rambling. We're at 17 minutes. But long story short, either get your family member to review on a private basis or on a group basis. That's fine if the communication is open. But let's just see what we can do to get ahead of it and to make sure that you get a benefit out of it and that you make money on it, and the insurance companies aren't getting all the money. Bottom line. I should have put that in the subject. The title.
We'll do it next week.
Okay, anything else?
I think we're good.
I feel like 17 minutes. I'm not going to get yelled at, hopefully, for going over.
You'll get yelled at.
I will. Happy Friday. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.